He was a legend of rugby league who had a huge heart, and he taught us that in a world of adversity, we must dare to dream. Good evening from Headingley Stadium, where hundreds of people have been laying flowers, remembering Rob Burrow for his skill on the pitch and his tireless campaigning for MND. Tonight on Calendar, we celebrate the life of a man who fought hard and inspired so many. Rob Burrow captured the hearts of so many as work begins on a new MND centre in his name, with the hopes of finding a cure.
I wish we'd have got it before he passed, but we will get it for him and all the poor people and families suffering with MND. It's awful.
We've come for Lindsay and the girls and our Jackson, and we've just plucked up courage, haven't we, because that's what Rob would have wanted.
A beacon of hope, how Rob's friend and former teammate will remember him.
We all lose special people, but it's very, very rare you lose someone who's so special to so many different people. You leave a massive hole.
And he was one of the smallest players in rugby league, but powered through the opposition. Hello, thanks for joining us. There's been a steady stream of people bringing floral messages here tonight, and earlier it was Rob's family, his mum and dad, who came down here to read some of those messages, and they were clearly very heartfelt. And in the past hour, Rob's wife Lindsay, she has released a message saying that she takes comfort from the love and support to all her family from everybody who has brought these floral tributes. The Leeds Rhino fans will also get a chance to pay their respects in a minute's silence before the club's Challenge Cup final game at Wembley on Saturday. Now, it was of course motor neurone disease that took Rob's life at the age of 41, and Rob was a hero here on the pitch before he also became a hero off the pitch. Katie Oscoff reports now on the tributes to Rob Burrow.
A proud but grieving family, overwhelmed by the outpouring of love for their Rob.
I have never been so proud of the amount of publicity that we've had and the love that everybody is giving us, and it helps, of course, but it was such a lovely person. Anybody that met Rob would always say that, and I hope we're doing him proud, aren't we?
Throughout the day, that love for Rob, mixed with sadness and admiration, has been evident outside the stadium where he made his name.
Gutted.
Yeah, horrible.
Yeah, I've watched him since. Yeah, gutted.
He was the most lovely man. He was always so friendly and asked so many questions. He wanted to know about you. He didn't want you to know about him. He didn't care about that.
Legend of the club, legend of the rugby league. Even better person on and off the pitch.
I've a disabled child myself, and I just thought I'd pay respects.
Later, the Leeds Rhinos players stood in front of the tributes to a man they all looked up to.
I made my debut when he was in the squad, but growing up watching the special things he's done, you have to look at some of the highlight reels that have gone out over the last 24 hours, and he's shown an amazing character for the whole MND community, this club.
Rob Burrow was a winner on the Headingley turf, but 2 years after retiring from a glittering career, he was diagnosed with MND and became a champion with a different cause. By his side, Kevin Sinfield, his captain on the rugby field, there for him when he first spoke about his diagnosis. And this unforgettable image at last year's Leeds Marathon, raising money in Rob's name. Kevin Sinfield carried his friend across the line. Today he paid an emotional tribute.
I wish you could have seen the outpouring of love. You leave a massive hole. I know there'll be a lot of people out there who are heartbroken this morning. on the news from yesterday. A lot of people from the M&D community will be heartbroken this morning. But he cared about everybody. And what's really, really important is that Rob Burrow continues to live forever, and our team, I'm sure the M&D community and everyone who supported us previously will make sure that Rob's name is at the forefront of everything we do going forward.
Rob Burrow was also a loving husband and father. His wife Lindsay and 3 children were with him as he lived with MND, which took first his independence and then his ability to speak.
The most amount of thank yous, congratulations.
The accolades in his life included a CBE from Prince William, who travelled to Headingley. Rob thanked him through a computer programmed with his own voice.
Days like today allow us to keep the spotlight on the disease and continue to raise awareness.
And as Prince William paid tribute today to a rugby legend with a huge heart, that spotlight will continue. In this weekend's Challenge Cup finals, Leeds Rhinos women are amongst teams planning to honour Rob and his work for MND.
The minute's silence to reflect on what he's given to the game, what he's given to MND, and that fight is really, really important. But then the applause to just recognise the greatness that he was as a player, as a man.
Rob Burrow's family say they always knew he was a special person, and it's helping them to know so many other people think that too. Katie Oscroft, ITV News.
Well, I think it's clear that everybody loved Rob Burrow, and a couple of people who knew him really, really well. I want to introduce you to a teammate who he actually grew up with, Richie Mathers, and also Phil Davey, who's the press officer with the Rhinos. First of all, Richie, if I can start with you. You knew him from the age of 13.
Yeah, 13, and we played schoolboy rugby together all the way through to the academy, and I went on to tours to Australia when we were only 15 and 17.
Even at that time, could you tell that he was going to be a star player?
Yeah, it's phenomenal. He was with the star player of the group, and he was just, defied his size, but everything we saw when he made his debut and the illustrious career he had for Leeds, he had in abundance when we were schoolboys.
And what about his character? Because what always strikes me about Rob is he's always got that little glint in his eye.
He very much did. So he was the practical joker of the group, winding everyone up and been the fun and the energy, and he was like that right from 13 all the way through.
Yeah. Lovely to hear such personal memories of him. Now, Phil Daly, you'll know the whole Rhinos team. How has Rob's death affected them?
Yeah, I mean, it's one big family, and that goes to the whole rugby league family. We've had, you can see behind you there, shirts from every club in the game, and fans who've come down here, and it's been lovely to see ex-players coming down here as well. Great to see Rich here. We've had Callum Watkins has been down, and a number of other players have come down to pay their respects, and it was great to see the first team squad here today, to come and led by Captain Cameron Smith to pay the team's respects to Rob. A lot of them, especially the homegrown guys, were coached by Rob in our scholarship and our academy, so it's very personal to them. He was a key person. A lot of them, of course, were fans. They grew up, he was their hero, and then to be coached by him, and then to see the battle that Rob has had and the inspiration he's given them all. They take a lot of pride in what Rob's achieved.
Absolutely. And Richie, to come back to you personally, how do you feel about his passing?
I'm gutted. I think it was a day we all knew was going to come. But when we got the news last night, we were just absolutely gutted. I think all the memories we had, from 13 all the way through to winning grand finals and World Cup challenges, and together both on and off the field. And I think it was really, really sombre last night.
Richie, thank you very much, and Phil, thank you for coming here tonight. Now, it was always Rob's aim, once he knew that he had MND, that he would try and raise an awful lot of money to get Seacroft Hospital up and running with the MND Care Centre, and believe it or not, he managed to achieve that with the help of some friends along the way. It was always planned to open today, the first set of works to begin, and it was Rob's wish that would happen whether or not he was actually here. So it is with great sadness, a bittersweet moment really, that the first of that work began today, the day after he died. Jonathan Brown has been looking at the legacy of Rob Burrow that he's left behind.
Reflecting on the loss of his son, celebrating the achievements of an inspiration.
3, 2, 1.
Rob Burrow's dad, Jeff, was among those marking the start of building work at Seacroft Hospital, where a pioneering MND care centre will be erected in his honour. The family braving raw emotion to honour one of Rob's final wishes.
We've just plucked up courage, haven't we? Because that's what Rob would have wanted. You know, his bravery and our bravery, we've come.
He didn't really like publicity, believe it or not, but he did it, and he wants us to keep doing it to get that cure. You know, I wish we'd have got it before he passed, but we will get it.
The £6.8 million facility was the brainchild of neurologist Dr. Agam Jung, too emotional to speak today about the patient who became a friend.
Good afternoon, just here to check Robin.
He regularly came through the doors to see her at Seacroft's existing and ageing unit for people with motor neuron disease. A place built in the early 1900s to deal with infectious diseases, it has poor disabled access, a lack of hoists and unsuitable spaces to process life-changing news. Allowing cameras to document the impact the degenerative condition had on him and his young family.
Wake up, good lad. There we go.
Rob opened the eyes of the nation to the desperate need for a cure.
Go, boys.
But it wasn't just his family who were there to help. Kevin Sinfield's series of fundraising endurance challenges became a joint mission for them to better support the MND community. Moments emblematic of their friendship continue to inspire donations and the will to fight on together.
I was diagnosed about 9 months before Rob, and I struggled to find a purpose. I struggled to find a way of dealing with it, and Rob gave me that toolkit. The way that they've helped this community in showing us how to live, and that we can all dream, we can all continue to achieve things.
Kevin Sinfield was among those there to see the start of construction today. Rob's story generated more than £5 million for the Leeds Hospital's charity to help turn the drawings into reality.
He put himself out there when he was his most vulnerable, and people took him to his story and his family to their hearts. Yeah, it's a city in grief.
What do you think today would mean to him?
Well, I know he'll be smiling, he'll be thinking, yeah, keep checking on them, Dad, make sure that they keep digging. We know that when this is built, try and imagine what it's going to be like.
This now one of the many places flowers are being laid in memory of an extraordinary man, also the place where his name will live on and build on a life that brought hope to millions. Jonathan Brown, ITV News, Seacroft Hospital.
Yes, and it's people like David here who that hospital will hopefully be able to help in the many months ahead and years as well. And David, you have seen Rob, you've not been able to talk to him, but how do you feel about him dying? Does that...
Well, this day was going to come eventually, as it will for the rest of us that have this horrible disease. But what Rob has done is leave a legacy that will help support people like myself.
Absolutely.
Who need care in the future.
We're going to leave it there with you, David, because we know that you're struggling with your voice. But Helen, you're David's wife, and for you, it was difficult to take in the news, wasn't it?
Very difficult. This disease is so cruel. It strips you of everything. And for me, as this disease progresses with David, we have a great desire just to go away and hide. But the fact that Rob didn't do that, and he was willing to let people in and see what the disease does, has meant so much. It's brought us into the public eye. It means money's being raised, research is being done, and that's amazing.
You took part in the Rob Burrow Marathon, didn't you? Pushing David.
Yeah, we did. David's a fell runner. He always said he'd never run a road marathon. Well, I pushed him round one last year, so I got my own way.
And your daughters have done it as well, a half marathon and a full marathon. Yeah. Lovely. Well, thank you very much. We'll have to leave it there, but it's lovely to talk to you both. All of you, thank you. And good luck, David. Now, all superheroes, like Rob, must have an origin story, and for Rob, well, it started here on the Headingley pitch. Now, Rob rose through the Leeds Rhinos Academy, as we've already heard. He made his debut in 2021, and he spent the next 16 years in the first team, and among that time, he won 16 major trophies. Chris Dawkes looks back on his incredible sporting career and how he became a rugby legend.
At 5'4", what Rob Burrow lacked in height, he more than made up for in heart.
For somebody who was so small, you know, people looked at him and had this perception, but wow, did they get a shock when they come across him. You know, he was so brave. He'd put his body and his mind and his heart and his soul in places that would scare most people to death.
The beating heart of a golden generation of rugby league players, Rob would play almost 500 games for the Leeds Rhinos, scoring nearly 200 tries and winning multiple trophies. In 2011, he scored what's been described as the greatest ever Super League Grand Final try in what was his testimonial year after a decade playing in the famous blue and gold.
I've supported him since 7 years old and always dreamt of playing for him. So you know, the fact that I've played 10 years here and won so many things with a special bunch of guys, just it's something I didn't think could happen.
After winning an 8th Super League title, Rob retired from playing in 2017. His job then to inspire the next generation as coach of the academy he graduated from many years earlier. Current Rhinos captain Cameron Smith was one of his students.
You know, there were never a dull moment, and you know what a player he was as well. I used to, you know, be real excited watching him play, and fortunate enough to manage to get a couple of games of him also. But yeah, what an amazing guy, and you know, he truly is a hero in there.
Following his MND diagnosis in early 2020, thousands were there at Headingley to see Rob walk out with his children and pull on a Rhinos jersey one last time.
You know, words fail me on the day today. Unbelievable atmosphere. Great occasion. I'm so proud to be part of it. Can't say thank you enough.
Rob now faced an altogether different challenge, but with him throughout, those special teammates he'd grown up with, played with, laughed with.
Part of how my life links to Rob Burrow was going to his house in Florida. He loved Disneyland, you know, that creative, imaginative, playful man inside, the boy that's still inside him, still very much shone through, and that was Rob, always willing to give up his time and energy for other people, and that's why he was such an iconic figure.
For rugby league fans, he was one of the greatest to ever play the game. In a world of giants, Rob Burrow stood tall.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rob Burrow!
Well, I'd just like to introduce you now to Danica Prim, who played for England and for the Leeds Rhinos Women's Rugby League. It's lovely to have you on the programme tonight. You really looked up to Rob, didn't you?
I've been a huge fan of Leeds Rhinos since '96, and Rob was just one of those players that you couldn't not adore and admire, and I want to be more like. And then, you know, through my career, I got to be in here with Rob, and whilst he was coaching the academy, he also helped me through my time at Leeds Rhinos as well, so a really special person.
And you've got to know his family as well.
Yeah, incredibly well. Luckily, I've been fortunate to do lots of things with him, and more recently, the Rob Burrow Strictly Come Dancing, where Macy and May were my #1 fans. Such a beautiful family, and those two children, and Jackson, of course, are just incredibly strong and resilient little people that are just amazing.
Yeah, how are you feeling today?
It's been difficult, but actually coming here has been beautiful. And I implore anybody that is feeling a little bit down about it just to come here, and it's so peaceful, it's beautiful. And they're just a moment of how great, you know, what it means to this club, and just to celebrate his beautiful life.
It's just quite a reflection, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're going to bring in another man now who I think will be familiar to our viewers, Chris Dawkes.
Yes.
How's it been for you?
Yeah,
you knew him well.
Yeah, it's been difficult. I mean, I interviewed Rob many times over the years, and you know what, Lara? Whenever you were sent down here to report on either one of those great successes that the Leeds Rhinos had or preview a game, you always wanted it to be Rob who was put up for interview. He was such a personable bloke. He always gave great copy as well. he was life and soul of this club, wasn't he? When he used to come down to
But
the Leeds Rhinos.
even when they hadn't done well, he would still come out and chat, wouldn't he?
He would. He'd do anything for you. That's what sort of a bloke he was. And you know, of the many tributes I've heard today, the one that's really stuck in my mind about Rob Burrow is from Robbie Hunter-Paul, who was the captain of the Bradford Bulls, and he said that when he played against Rob Burrow, when he first saw him, he said, "I worried for him." And then after 10 minutes of seeing him play, I worried for us. He was a great player, he was a great man, but a wonderful rugby league player as well.
He was, but a wonderful person as well. What is it about him as his personality that will stick with you?
He was just bubbly, wasn't he?
Yeah, and a joker, and he was the life and soul of the party.
Yeah.
You've probably heard it plenty of times today. He used to wind people up. He's the smallest man in the team, but would make sure that the biggest also always got their jokes played on them, and then ran as fast as he could do to get away from it, didn't he?
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks both for joining us. We'll have to wrap up now, but what Rob Burrow meant to so many people is obviously clear to the people that we've chatted to tonight, and the messages that are left here as well. And it's obvious the impact that he had on the lives of those who were inspired by his bravery. A man who will be remembered for his courage both on and off the field, who leaves a lasting legacy. As his friend and former teammate Kevin Sinfield observed, he showed the world what living and loving looked like, and he did it with the biggest smile on his face. From everyone at Calendar, good night, take care, bye-bye.
Just an amazing young man. Small but strong, a big heart, and I think that's what got him through it. His bravery on and off the field, and the love that he had for Leeds Rhinos.
We're with a trophy now for these fantastic fans. It's brilliant. Yeah, do come true. They will celebrate.
Rob was such an amazing person, huge part of the rugby league community, and everybody admire how courageous he was and played well above his weight. What an amazing guy, and you know, he truly is a hero.
This is all about friendship, this marathon. It's about running together, it's about getting everybody through. It's about showing each other that we care for people who are less fortunate than us.
I think if love could cure M&D, that it would be cured by now.
Thank you, congratulations, and for all the inspirational work you've done, Rob. You've been amazing, you really have.
He's been an inspirational rugby league player, an inspirational person, and what he's done for raising awareness and money for MND is quite remarkable.
The legacy Rob leaves, he's filled with pride at the same time as the sadness.
He was a superhuman, superman, and he was a special guy.
Good visibility on the horizon. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Hello, good evening. Staying warm today, although more cloud around in general compared to the weekend, where we saw a decent dose of sunshine, especially yesterday, and some lovely warm temperatures. At sunset last night, it did look beautiful at Winterset Reservoir, but this morning a little bit more in the way of cloud. And although it has stayed cloudy, we have seen some breaks in the cloud today. And yes, where we've had the sunnier breaks, it has felt relatively warm. As we head deeper into this evening and overnight tonight, we look to the west for thicker cloud amounts, and even by the early hours we could see some low cloud hugging the Dales, the Pennines and the Peak District, and maybe even some rain and drizzle here by the time we reach the early hours of tomorrow morning. Ahead of that Maybe some clear spells, but we're still in the relatively mild air and staying in double figures for towns and cities. 4:39 and 9:31 are your sun times as we head into Tuesday. There will be some brighter breaks first thing, but generally speaking, it's a cloudier day and a wetter day. There'll be some showery outbreaks developing. Some of those could be heavy. They could form in bands and merge to longer spells of rain. In between, limited amounts of sunshine. Highs around the average at 18 Celsius, but by the very end of the day, as the showers push south and eastwards, we start to see clearer and colder conditions, marking a change from Wednesday onwards. So for the rest of the working week, certainly, there's a mix of sunny spells and showery outbreaks and a fairly chilly west and northwesterly airflow, pegging back the feel of the already struggling temperatures of 14 or 15 Celsius. So yes, there will be some sunshine, also some showers, maybe at times merging to longer spells of rain, blustery from the west and temperatures struggling. But as we head towards the weekend, possibly drier for Saturday and for Sunday.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Hello, summer. Piri sponsors ITV Pollen Count.
Well, grass pollen sufferers will concur that counts did rise, certainly over the last couple of days, with the warm and sunny conditions. But with cooler temperatures and showers along spells of rain, it's low for the rest of the week.